The
So what did he say?
he never saw me. I got out. Man, I didn't even go look for Kathleen. I just
You're on your own, honey.
like a
Bye.
speeding bullet. I was out of there.
Obviously, you didn't come back.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because you just left. It's like
No wonder you don't remember.
the
I'm gonna turn the TV off. Can you turn? You know how to turn it off?
there's a
Remote over here.
remote where
Just cut it.
Pat wouldn't like that. Notre Dame is off.
yeah they're gonna lose.
Yeah, they are.
The one of the toughest things that I had to do, and it was real kind of funny. I called your dad up and with the intent of asking his permission to marry his daughter, and I was pretty nervous. So we had to schedule it, and I worked in the Cherry Creek area at the time, and so we met at the Cherry Cricket. We go in and sit down and have a burger, and we're talking, and before you know it, an hour's gone by. And I know what I have to do, but I just can't quite find the right time to break the news to him. And I'm not kidding. It probably took me another hour just to just to get up the nerve to ask your dad to get his permission to marry his daughter. Now, had I known his reaction would have been so favorable and so positive, it's almost like, yeah, take her, you can have her. It wouldn't have been as difficult. But that was a neat thing. And then, after we were married, and it was just, we had this place up in Breckenridge, and I'd have to, in the ski season, I'd have to go up there every Saturday. People would have to be out of there by 11 o'clock, and the new people coming in that same day would be there by 3. So I had a 4-hour window to clean, and I would always ask him if he wanted to go, and he always wanted to go. And there was one time we were driving up the hill by Georgetown with the cliffs. Georgetown is on your left, and the cliffs. We looked up, and there's this magnificent bull ram. He was a ram, and God, and he was perched out on those rocks. And it was just like a silhouette on the edge of the cliff, and it was one of the most he saw that and was just amazed. So we both enjoyed that kind of wildlife. That was one of those real quick but real special moments. I remember that really vividly. But he used to love just going up and making the beds or doing whatever it took to just to clean the place up, vacuum. I mean, it was.
Paul and Diana's when you went up when you lost Heath.
Oh, that was a time when friends of ours asked us to. We were working on the roof, and it's a cabin up on Weston Pass.
Your birthday.
Yeah, it was day after Christmas, and we asked Bill to go with us, and he was always in favor of that. He always enjoyed going up, and it was friends of ours, Paul and Diana Scheiberger, who had a cabin they were building, and it started out as a beautiful day, and as the day progressed, it got worse and worse, and we ended up having to leave a little early because the snow was coming down real hard, and we were driving back, and Diana wasn't there. It was just Paul, Heath, and Bill and I. We were in the car and we're dragging Heath behind us in a sled, one of those,
Toboggan kind of.
yeah, toboggan or
Saucer.
a little saucer. And he was far enough back, and it was dark, and it was snowing so much, he had fallen off, but we couldn't see him. So
Because they were watching the bunnies.
we didn't know. Oh yeah, in front of us are all these animals going back and forth in front of us. So we had to watch in front of us, and we just kind of thought Heath would be okay, but we had no idea how far back he was. Your dad got a big kick out of that.
Yeah.
But it was those kinds of things that he really enjoyed doing, and it was helping anybody do anything, and if it had anything to do with the mountains, he was totally game for it. So he was always a good trooper doing that sort of thing. In fact, even before we started running the place out, when we were painting, he always went up there with us just to paint. I mean, we had, that wood paneling was so dry, it absorbed so much paint. We had to paint, repaint, and he was always up there, painting with us. And I know he really enjoyed going up the Breckenridge, particularly. Even though it was going up in the morning and coming back in the afternoon. It's a short day, but.
How about your deck?
Oh, the decks. Let's see. We finished that deck. Well, it's a big deck on the back of our house, and I needed his help. First of all, I needed his help with a two-man driller to drill the holes for the foundations. Or just you put those round tubes in those I can't remember what those tubes are called, and we had to drill about 11 holes around the house, and it doesn't take very deep when you get bogged down in that heavy wet clay, and that was a battle. But I couldn't have done it without him, and he's just he says just tell me what I want to do, just tell me what you want me to do. So we would just kind of anything that has to do with construction generally is problem solving, and we had a lot of problems to solve, and we just worked our way through them, and he was there a lot, and that was when Ryan was. We finished it in. No, the date was October 31st, 1990. So Ryan was a little over 2 years old, and he was carrying one of those he had a plastic tool belt that he would wear and be with his grandpa and me while we built that thing. That took us forever to build. That was a 4-month project. But he just always came over. I think he really had a fondness for our backyard because he really liked the view, and I don't think he would enjoy painting as much as I do. But God, he was always there to help, and he was always there to assist.
He used to run with us.
Oh my goodness. And a countless number of boulders he would run with us. And
Didn't he win one time for his age group?
he was up, yeah, I don't know I can't remember if he won it or he was up there. But he of all the various runs we'd go on afterwards, you cross the finish line and you kind of walk through an area where they'd hand out bananas and apples, and you're supposed to take one banana and one apple and one beer and one bagel. Well, he'd come back and his sweats would be stuffed with them. Here, peanuts, take these. Take these home. So his old time sweats would be bogged down with apples and oranges and bananas and bagels.
We'd be embarrassed.
Here, peanuts.
Here, peanuts.
Take these with you, like we didn't need them. But he ran an awful lot with us on the canal, around Bible Park. I'm even thinking he may have done. Did he do the Georgetown to Idaho Springs half marathon? Yes, and countless boulders, and just running with Clancy every morning. I mean, he
Snow.
did that. Yeah, he did that. I mean, daily. It must have been hard on him when he couldn't run, like he used to. 'Cause that was when I knew him. That was really his main source of.
But when he started working at church, I think it eased it. 'Cause he
Sure.
enjoyed that.
But he ran all the time.
I talked to his,
The guys there.
yeah.
It was always kind of funny because when the kids were over there, and Bill was at work and Shirley was home with the kids, they'd make these tremendous forts down in the basement, boxes and blankets, and
He'd bring those.
we'd have these huge boxes and these blankets and but you had to have it all cleaned up before Grandpa got home, and that was rule number one. I just can imagine what he would think of when he.
Well, you know what he thinks.
See, yeah.
Shirley, what are they doing?
The whole
Well, the kids.
basement would just be
Oh, it was just
big
and Grandma's crawling around on her hands and knees, chase them in all this maze of fort that they built. She'd have just as much fun as the kids. Let's see what else. What else was there? I mean, it's the little things that he would teach, you know, the kids.
Handshake.
The handshake. You know, it was always, you know, it's all the traditional stuff that doesn't get passed down today like it did back then. And it's, you know, it's looking someone in the eye and firm handshake. And he would always challenge Ryan, literally to the day he was no longer with us, on, you know, how firm his handshake was. And that was, and I'm sure that Ryan will never forget that. That was just that was important to Bill, to develop that bond, and that, you know, to Bill, you know, handshake was everything, and to pass that along to his grandkids was a big deal. I'm trying to think what else is there.
We laughed, we had a great time all the time.
Well, he's just, you know, he in so many ways he was the father that I never had, and I have both their cards taped up with my mom.
Really?
Yeah, and I, you know, whenever I open up my cabinet, I always say hi to all of them, because they were just a big part of my life growing up, a big part.
It's
I thought I had already grown up by then, but I really hadn't.
I'm waiting for you still to do it.
Well, I've decided I'm not going to.
There you go. That's the best.
That was a very mature decision of mine.
Was there anything that you learned from him that you took and changed about yourself?
You know, it's just probably the work ethic, and that whole thread goes through the entire family. Just this, you know, honest days, pay for an honest day's work. I mean, he was a hard worker, and that work ethic, and I'm, you know, I'm a little bit like him in that I'm always picking up after people in our house. I follow people around to pick up or clean up after, it seems like.
Well, gee, there's only you and Kathleen there. Who would that be you're picking up
Oh,
after?
now it's Ryan.
Oh, now it's Ryan, yeah. But you're still right. I think it's just an incredible, solid. Tom Brokaw wrote a book on The Greatest Generation, and he, in my mind, Bill Moriarty kind of personifies that whole term of the greatest generation. He was a war veteran, and he worked, you know, numerous jobs to raise, you know, to help pay for raising the family throughout his entire life, and after what, almost 45 years with one company,
Yeah.
you know, retirement was just a day where, you know, they said goodbye, but it wasn't a day where he stopped working. I was amazed at,
Till like 85.
and we used to make fun of him for getting up so damn early. And I get up as early as he did it, and it's like, okay, now I understand. You just go to bed early because there's nothing
I
to
used
do.
to make fun of him going to bed so early.
Yeah, and but his work ethic is just you know,
Very simple.
yeah. Got a job to do it.
Bill's rules.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Bill's rules.
Bill's rules. That's
People at my office still have those.
Do they?
we have them at home. I can't remember what the rules are, but
We should put them.
just work hard. Don't bellyache. Be lucky for what you got.
Clean up your plate.
Any other funny stories that you can think of?
No, none off the top of my head.
Yeah, you know, I have to say, when you asked to marry me, I think Dad said, "What is he going to ask me? Is he going to ask me?"
Worried.
Oh.
Well, he was I think he asked you, didn't he?
He said, "Is he going to borrow money?"
When it, you know, that I forgot that. Why do you think he wants to have lunch with me? Because we really hadn't done that. Does he want to borrow money?
And then they asked him, and it was like, "Oh, well, yeah, that's fine."
You've been sitting here for 2 hours, and that's what you wanted to ask me?
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
It?
How come you didn't ask me on the front end? We could have been home by now.
Yeah. You're probably going to stick me with the bill, aren't you?
Oh, that was
When
hard.
the kids were born, he was so good with the kids, and
Oh yeah, well, the whole family was. We certainly we're blessed to have. You know, I'm certainly blessed to have both your mom and dad in my life, and you know what a blessing they were when our kids were born and young, and we needed babysitters or whatever. A day off here or there, they were always there. It was sad, you know, for me when they passed, but certainly hard on, you know, my kids and the memories they had.
But how nice to have grandparents for that long
Oh,
that they were close to.
well, for me, it's not only for the kids to have grandparents, for me to have such great in-laws that long. I was, you know, I was very lucky. I was very lucky.
Anything else you want to add?
Great memories.
I think that's what Brad always said too. To have in-laws that were that good.
Brad, I love you.
Right.
I don't think he'd say that to you.
Oh yeah, he did.
Well, you might say it to the dog too.
Yeah.
But like I remember when Shirley passed away. You remember his garbage disposal? It sounded like he had a bunch of rocks in it. It just was horrible. He went over and turned it on, and made this racket. And he turns it off and looks at me and says, "Brad, fix that." That was his way of saying, "Brad, I love you," because he says, "Brad, I trust you to do this. You'll do it right, and I'm not going to worry about it."
Ah,
You know, that was his way of saying it. You know, so I mean, he was. Was it my turn? Is that what we're doing now?
Well, you're talking.
oh, you know, the shoveling the friggin', when he's 85 years old, he's out there shoveling snow.
for not only himself but the neighbors.
The neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, he would do for anything for anybody. And, you know, I remember when his good friends would come over, Red, and it was usually around the holidays, and I didn't know them very well, but, you know, he had a real close relationship with those guys.
Fishing buddies.
The fishing stories. I did get a chance to go fishing with him one time, and I'm trying to think, did Ryan join us? I think Ryan, or did you?
Kate caught 3 fish in a row one time with him.
Yeah, that wasn't with me though. We were up at Muddy Pass Lake.
Oh yeah, with who did he go
Who do we-
with?
Yeah, we.
Oh, his other friend, I don't remember.
Yeah.
He worked at public service.
Yeah.
But you know, the fishing was one of those.
Oh, loved
When his friends couldn't go, he could still go fishing, but his friends couldn't go fishing, and that was hard on him because that's the one. You know, really he looked forward to that every summer.
Yep.
And it was always, you know, Muddy Pass Lake. Well, how do you fish for this? Oh, well, you know, I always fish the bottom. You know, he was very specific. There was only one way to fish, and that was his way. And God, he'd come home and bring us, you know, he didn't like to eat fish. So he'd bring all this fish. Which ones do you want? It was kind of nice.
Tell them about when we took him to Vegas. Or,
Oh, my goodness. You know, the very last time, you know, I think deeper into his retirement.
That was when he was hospice almost.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But he had started to go up to the gambling towns and with the church group, and you know, he was talk about lucky Irishman. He was one of the luckiest guys. But Kathleen and I were fortunate to be able to. Actually, we had a plan, and then we got there, and he didn't want to go. And
Did you tell me you were taking him out for breakfast?
yeah. But then, you know, the more we were hanging out, he said, "Yeah, let's go." So, he had his oxygen bottle, so he was weaker, but that's something that he really enjoyed doing. And we were up in his favorite place in Central City, and I can't remember which casino it was.
Kyle, maybe.
Yeah, could be. And he just played the slots, but and I didn't know what happened.
Like certain machines.
He liked certain machines at certain times, and he would get up and move, and it was just all, you know, he had to feel. He just felt. And all of a sudden, he was sitting there, and the light went on, and of course, it makes a lot of racket and noise like coins are falling out, but all you get is a ticket. But when people see that light, they all kind of hover, and I don't know. I think he won $5,000 or $7,000, and it was just no big deal. And
Probably put it in the ceiling.
they pay in cash. It might still be in the house, and they pay in cash, and he goes, it's just a wad of cash, and he says, "Here, Jay, hold this." So there's like $5,000 or $7,000. They don't give you just 100s; they give you everything, so you'll spend it again. Mm-hmm. So I get this wad of cash, and I have to carry it around in my pocket. And I feel like a marked man all night because I've got this wad of cash. But when the bells go off and whistles, everybody comes around, and he's just sitting there. It's no big deal, And
He loved it, though.
He did love it.
but that was a real. He enjoyed that. And he just enjoyed working the machines. It's just like a little old lady. He knew where he wanted to go next, and he had a plan. Lord knows what it was, but it certainly made it work probably more than once.
He knew that was going to be his last time there.
That was a neat time together. I won $100. I thought that was pretty cool. I always say quit while you're ahead, so I won $100 and I quit. So I was just his boy the rest of the night carrying his money.
So why would you need to win when you got a guy giving you $7,000?
Well, I had to give it back.
And then we looked in the house for it every time he'd move it. Do you remember that?
At the end, it was all over the house. It was all-
Karen, where's that
I know, they called me one time. Where did Dad put it? Okay,
money?
it's in
Because
the
he
front
wants
closet.
it.
It's in the front closet. And then sometimes
Wait.
it was in the car.
You can just never be too safe, right?
No, he didn't. I mean, he wanted to know where it was. And a lot of times it would be right by his chair.
Oh, really?
You're sitting there thinking, well, he's probably doing this just to keep the crooks from finding it, to keep them guessing.
I
The crooks he
know,
was thinking about were you guys.
Yeah, but the thing is if you didn't know where it was, I mean, if you stalled 1 second,
He was
he
on
would
you.
panic.
He was on you.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, I don't know. Call Karen. Call Mike. Mike would call me. Where is it? Where
Call
is it?
police. Call somebody. Call anybody.
I know.
But it was serious. It wasn't funny.
Well, sure it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not funny for him. Because he kept it, in the ceiling for so long. And then
In the
once
ceiling?
he took it out,
Down in the
down
basement.
the basement.
Up in where the
Laundry room?
Yeah, in the
Back in
laundry
there?
Yeah,
The
above,
laundry
above
room,
one of the heating ducts or
where
something.
the furnace is.
Yeah.
They say, I have to show you where it is. You crawl up on the ladder.
And it's like, okay, nobody knows. Everybody knew.
Yeah.
Everybody in the family knew.
Big neon sign, hidden in the dough right
He
here.
would take $100 or whatever. He would always do it in $100 bills. And he would, every paycheck, he would just take money and set it aside.
Yeah, that's.
And it was
Well, he
always
didn't
in
have
the
a
ceiling.
checking account. That didn't
No,
come until
no.
after.
Mom did.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
after your
he
mom
didn't have
passed
it until
away.
Shirley passed away.
And then try to teach him how to use a debit card.
Oh,
That was
gosh.
way too confusing.
I know, he didn't like that at all.
That was.
I said, just put it, Kathleen and I tried to say, put everything on one card, and then you just pay it. No, that was not, that was not good.
Well, again, the greatest generation. They early in their life they were part of the Great Depression, so every nickel dime that they earned was important.
Not Mom. Mom she was sharp with all that money.
Yeah.
Well, she made her money work for her. And your
She
mom was
invested
very,
it.
very sharp.
Yeah, she invested it. Bill's idea of savings was putting an extra $100 bill up above the roof, I guess.
What's the old saying? Jesus saves, Moses invests.
Oh, okay.
Well, Brad went up. We went up one time with Mom and Dad to Central City, and Dad gave everybody, $100 and said, "Be on your way." Brad kept playing and playing.
Well, there came time to go, and Bill and Shirley came over, and you're right about the lucky. The machine knew he was there. Came walking up. All of a sudden, I couldn't stop winning.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I had like $15 on the machine. And all of a sudden, I'm getting full houses, and I'm getting 4 of a kind, and I'm getting all this stuff. And before you knew it, I had like $180. And finally, I said, "Okay, I'll cash it out." And so I did. And I said, "Here, Bill, here's your money." He said, No, you keep it. I said, "No,
Yeah.
your dough."
No, Dad
No.
would never.
No, I said, "No, you keep it." I said, "Okay, let's go to dinner."
Well, we had a big dinner because he had all these points that he could eat for free up there.
Yeah,
And he
got
took us-
lobster and
Oh
all
yeah,
kinds of
steak.
stuff. And that, you know, he knew that was the end.
Yeah. Well, how long before he passed
made
away
it
were you
not
up there?
too long. I mean, that was one of the last times.
Like 3 or
that
4
he
weeks,
was-
or
No,
A couple months.
probably a couple
Okay.
months.
Yeah, but I mean, we knew that we weren't
Yeah.
going to get him up there again, and then
That was a real special time though, just
you know, he kept
because.
looking back. He knew that was it. You know, we were leaving, and you know, you hated to leave, but Jay and I were like tired, exhausted,
Yeah.
and he really.
well, Jay's pants were full of all that money. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
dragging all that dough and
Yeah, I was
getting pooped.
kind of tilted my pelvis, just having if I had more than $5 on me, I'm a rich man. 7,000 was a little hard for me.
to Kathleen. That's true.
I remember
She didn't
when
carry
all-
any money.
When all the kids came, you know, and it was real loud in the house, it like drove him crazy. I love the kids, but just tell them to go outside if they're gonna be loud. Noise was not my dad's thing.
God, last night when the kids came home, they started debating over something. I had to go upstairs. It was too much for me, and that's just two of them.
I think you're getting old, Jay.
Just my kids are.
Yeah.
Got to see them on both your mom and dad on Tim's Christmas video. That was pretty cool. Because it takes you back to how you remember them at various stages.
And fun.
Oh yeah. The basement holds tons of memories.
Those walls could talk, huh? I haven't been by the house in a long time. I don't know.
Well, there used to be that one picture that of Karen when, I think it was taken. We were freshman year in college. I think it was like January, February before you turned 19. And you just got your hair done. I think your mom took this picture. That's my favorite picture of you. 'Cause that's the woman I fell in love with.
Yeah.
And I had that picture. I said, if she asked me, said anything you want from the house, I said, I want that picture. That's the one thing I wanted. And it sits on our dresser. That's, like I said, that's my favorite picture of you. So I think you were wearing. Didn't I get you like a pearl for Christmas?
Uh-huh.
And then you're wearing it in that picture. So I mean, a lot of memories in that picture.
Yeah.
Plus, that was the one your mom liked too. She had it on her wall.
Yeah.
So
First time my dad met Brad, he thought he was a cowboy. Brad came walking in boots.
well, it was wintertime. And that back then the craze was everybody wore rough out cowboy boots when the winter, it was cold out and stuff. I forget Karen told me later, does he always wear boots? Because CSU was an ag school.
Sure.
They had a lot of cowboys up there. Oh no, Dad, everybody wears the boots. I've never seen anybody else wear boots but him.
And then he gave me, what, Love is Blue?
Well, it's for your birthday.
Oh,
I
and
gave-
it was a,
I gave you the Love of Blues that Paul Morant's song. A very beautiful song. It's an instrumental. So I gave her the album. Well, on the cover was a picture of a lady with no clothes on, but she's sitting there from the side, but covered up. It's modest, with paint down the side, And so I gave Karen this thing. Well, I remember your mom was sitting there before they moved into the house that they, on Baker Street.
Yeah.
when we were on Rosemary.
Yeah, and your mom was sitting on the box. It was that in the living room, and so
That box was in the living room?
yeah. Well, they had just moved into this house temporarily until they
okay,
get through their house
okay.
stuff. And so she's sitting there, and she sees this thing out of the corner of her eye, and she doesn't want to. She wants to kind of look at it. Like, what the hell's on the cover of that thing? And I'm standing over here, kind of watching her. And she doesn't want me to see this, but she's kind of moving it with her foot, just kind of moving it. I'm sitting, I'm watching her, and she's kind of watching me moving this. It was so funny because we're waiting for you to, get your hair done or whatever.
Right, whatever.
But she's sitting there going, what's this guy's giving my daughter pornographic stuff?
This cowboy.
This cowboy.
I think it was a springtime. Well, it's, March. I mean, I was just wearing regular shoes then.
Well, and another time they moved lights, or
Oh, God, that was funny. when they moved into the house on Baker Street. They brand new. They'd moved in like you moved in like at Easter time. And one night I was down in Denver with my friends, and we're down there and running around. And for some reason you were busy doing something. I couldn't go out with you. So it's Kent and I and Bill Wilking, the guy with all the fuzzy face in that one picture. And then we went and picked up Linda. So we're running around my Volkswagen. And Linda lived down the street 2 blocks.
From Baker Place?
Yeah. Just to the north.
We went to grade school and high school together.
Yeah,
And
in
she
college.
dated Brad's best friend.
Yeah, in fact, they got married. And so anyway, so we're running around, what are we going to do? It's after midnight. We're trying to figure out something fun to do.
How can we get in trouble?
That's right. What we're going to do to have some merriment. So we went to these various houses we saw that had for sale signs in the front yard, so we picked them up. So we got about a half dozen for sale signs. And we're going back, and they were paving Monaco, they were paving the streets up to their house, and I mean, they had all these those little A-frame type things with yellow lights on them, blink, 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 blink.
Oh, okay.
Arrows, some of them say one way and whatever. So we got all these things and lined them up and detoured all the traffic off of Monaco to their driveway.
Ooh.
Okay, and then we put these for sale signs in there.
Ooh.
Okay, so, well, Bill used to play handball every Friday night.
Yeah, till who knows when.
Exactly. Well, we found out when.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
So
I dodged that bullet.
we were, the cul-de-sac around there, and I was pulled out on the street, and my car was faced north. And Kent and Bill were up in the yard. Bill Wilking, my friend, were putting these signs in the yard. Well, here comes a car down the street. We figured, well, our detours are working. Here comes a car. It was Bill.
Oh, God.
And so we're in my car,
Oh,
and so
boy.
Linda and I duck down. Okay, Bill goes by, and we're looking, and he pulls up there, and Bill and my friend Bill Wilking and Kent were in the yard. And they see this car coming, so they hop. I don't even know if he had a fence then,
I think there was.
but if they hop the fence and they go up on the canal, so they're making their getaway. And so Bill pulls up in the driveway. Off we go in my car, and we go down to Linda's house, and we meet down there. So we're sitting there going, boy, we almost got. So I'm going, okay, we almost got caught, but we're okay. So off we go. And so I think the next day I called you or something. Karen knew right away. She goes, what the hell did you do last night? What? Me? What do you mean, what did we do last night?
Yeah, Mr.
Because
Innocent.
I know you were in Denver here because you said you were going to come down here with Kent and blah, 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 And I get your dad picked up all the signs and put them in the
Yeah.
garage.
Oh, wait, they were probably gone before.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he wouldn't pick them up right then and there.
I don't think he saw them.
yeah, Mr. Tidy.
Yeah, but I know the next day they were in the garage. And he never said anything about it. Never did. He just, oh God, that was funny.
Well, he would have done the same thing when he was young.
Mm.
Well, to expound on Jay's story a little bit about when he asked to marry you, when Karen and I were in college, we decided, we're going to get married. And we'd gone down and selected our rings and stuff, and I'd gone down and picked hers up one night and gave her the ring, and voila, we're engaged. Well, I found out later, Karen goes home and she says, Mom, Dad, look, we're engaged, blah, blah, blah. And I found out later that Karen's dad was hurt because I didn't ask him, do you mind if I marry your daughter? Well, I mean, like I said, even then, I didn't know your dad as well as, I did later on, but I had a lot of respect for him. And to this day, I still feel bad that I hurt his feelings about that. So,
Ah, hell, you did him a big favor.
I found that out later, but anyway, so when you and Jay started dating, I remember one time I was talking to Jay, and I said, Jay, are you and Kathleen getting serious? And he goes, yeah, I think so. And I said, here's the mistake I made. I didn't talk to Bill and say,
Yeah,
would you, kind of marry your daughter? I said, don't make the mistake I made. He said, thanks for the heads up. And he went to lunch. And Bill, your dad was telling us this story about when he had lunch with Jay. And he's sitting there going, like I said, he had the 2-hour lunch, and he's waiting, Jay's not saying anything, and he's sitting there going, what's going on with this guy? I do have to go back to work.
Well, and my dad.
And, yeah. Every 3 seconds looking at his watch. So finally, Jay, says, well, I'd like to marry Kathleen, I'd like your permission, I'd like your blessing. And Bill says, well, your dad was telling the story, he says, that's all you want? I said, hell, I thought you wanted to borrow some money. And I asked Bill, I said, would you lend him to him? He goes, hell no. I said, oh, but you'll give him your daughter? He goes, yeah, that's okay, but no money.
Yeah.
God, I
He's
thought-
saving me money by doing this.
That's right. Yeah, I'll give you $20 on the ladder. Go ahead. He's yours. Oh God, that was funny.
Mm.
But he was a good grandpa too.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Well, that's. I told you that. I said, Aaron has made the comment to Karen about. Says, God, Dad is so patient with my kids. I can't believe it because she knew me growing up as a dad. And I told her, I said, hey, well, I looked at your dad and said, that's the model I'm going to follow as a grandfather. You know, it's different than a dad. And, you know, and your dad was really great with all the kids. Like I said, you know, all of them. You know, even into adulthood, they just treated them all the same. Very, very
Sat
fair.
at the kids' table. I think he did that because he didn't want roughhousing.
Oh, you didn't want to have to
the,
talk to
the enforcer.
Well, he didn't want to have to yell across the room. He's sitting right there. But don't see, that was one thing about your dad too. Is he would enforce discipline, you know. And if he looked, you know, at you and said, "Hey, you cut that out," you're cutting it out.
Well, that's just it. He didn't have to ever show anything. He just seemed gruff.
No.
Although Kate would go sit in his lap and they would just sit for hours, just
Mhm.
talk and
Well, so did I when I was
Yeah.
a kid.
yeah.
I used to sit in his lap all the. I used to wait up for him when he worked at the drugstore, and we'd have sardines and crackers
Oh my gosh.
when he'd come home. I know. It would. I don't know that I'd do it now, but
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first Christmas that we went home with Tim, and
Oh, yeah.
and you'd been through all your problems, Tim, and still had some problems. I mean, nothing life threatening, but I remember
Gas
sitting there
was
Christmas.
horrible, right?
Pardon?
But the gas was horrible.
Well, I was gonna say you put a bottle in and stuff came out the other end at the same time, but
Dude, just,
well, he'd go through like 90 diapers a week. Just
it's a straight shot.
yeah.
Yeah.
But your dad, I remember that whole Christmas. I would say probably 90% of the time you sat on his lap and you
he took naps with you and everything.
yeah. Yeah. And this, you know, it was amazing. He even had more patience than I did.
He'd go on walks.
Tim wasn't walking at 6 months, but
No, but I mean when we went back and lived with him,
yeah,
they'd take him walking up the canal.
yeah, take that little trike and go walking all over the place, and
Again, Tim was the man.
The man.
he'd be the boss.
Yeah, they had fun.
It was like, Tim's coming home. Tim's coming home.
Get out the altar and the incense.
Oh, you lost your baby status when that came out?
I was, kind of an adult by then, so it was hard, but not that hard. I think Megan was there and Shannon and
When did Mike move?
oh.
He moved before we graduated from college.
Yeah.
Well,
I
probably
remember
sophomore
when he
year.
had- I remember when he had Shannon,
Yeah.
when she was, because I remember it was about 5th grade, or, 4th, 5th, 6th, I don't, remember.
Yeah.
But he
I was a senior.
had Mom, bring me over, because Eileen must have worked, and Shannon was home, and he probably had to study or do something for school. So they said to have me come over and watch Shannon, and then the first day I got there, he wanted me to make him breakfast. It's like, I don't know how to make you breakfast. What do you mean?
I eat breakfast, Mike. I don't make it.
Because they used to have Karen had to make breakfast and dinner and everything for the boys, and it was
And
like,
the
what?
And the girl.
And the girl, yeah. But it was 5th grade when I was born. Didn't they ask you?
Yeah.
They called.
Yeah, I
Karen
was
and
8,
said-
and Pat was 14, and Mike was 16, and Dad, and they said, Karen, are you gonna fix dinner? We had to call Mom at the hospital, because I didn't know how to make hamburgers, and they had no clue. They had no clue, so we called Mom, and that's when people stayed in the hospital for like a week.
Yeah.
So from then on, that's how I learned how to cook.
Well, you called your mom in the hospital
Yeah.
every
yeah,
week.
how do you
Okay,
make
mom, now
hamburgers?
she's back in the
How
hospital
do you
again.
make hamburgers? No,
Well,
no,
and she works, you know, there weren't a lot of women that worked back then.
Yeah.
And so I'd come home from school and I'd start dinner.
Mm.
They didn't have crock pots